Yes. You got the Ramones. I'm impressed, Tom. Merry Christmas. I don't want to fight tonight. Yeah.
Pretty good. I like the Ramones. Happy Christmas to the Ramones. Or is it Merry Christmas?
How about Merry Christmas?
Yeah, Merry Christmas to the Ramones. One of them.
What's left of them?
One of them just died. One of the Ramones. Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. And another, wet. I think it's raining in South Florida, but that's okay.
Is it?
It's freezing. Many other places around.
I thought it was snowing. Are you sure it's not snowing?
It could be snowing in South Florida, but actually it's rain. If it gets a little colder, it'll be snowing. But you know what? Right here, we're bringing sunshine to your life on this very important day for Christians primarily. Christmas, Christ's Mass, Christ's an event having to do with Christ. We're going to get into that a little bit. And for people around the world, the name Christ, Jesus Christ, is, some people hate the name, some people love the name, some people don't care about the name. But this day is celebrating the birth of Christ, and for Christians, that's a very big event. And I tell you what, if Christians were to actually follow their doctrine, unlike some other religion of peace that we know, if they were actually to follow their doctrine, the world would be a wonderful place, because the doctrine teaches primarily love and self-sacrifice for other people, to put others first. Where do you ever read anywhere to love your enemies? The Christian scriptures demand of the Christian a love for the enemy. Doesn't mean you love the evil things the enemy does by any means. Simply means that individual is created in God's image, the imago Dei, and in that God loves that individual. We're to have God's love in our heart for all people. Now, should we arrest people when they do things wrong if we're law enforcement officers? Of course. Do they get judged? Yes, of course. But there should not be this hatred that some religions, one in which we deal with head on, the religion of Islam, just generates worldwide. So on this day, we invite all Muslims to take a serious look, not at your phony baloney view of Isa, but of who Jesus really is. We believe he's the Messiah. You guys in the Muslim world disagree, our Jewish brothers and sisters. They disagree also. They don't think Jesus is the Messiah. Fine. That's great stuff for debating. But on this day, Christians can celebrate who they believe the Messiah is. Then we can argue about this stuff anytime. And you know what? It's okay to argue theologically when you strike people and start hurting them because they don't believe the same way you do. That's wrong. Tom Trento here, enemies of the state. But today we have no enemies. Everybody's our friend on Christmas Day.
In fact, today you're baby Jesus, Tom. You're right in
look at that. I'm right in the little thing, on the little manger. You know what? I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions. We got a Christmas show for you today.
Okay.
I'm going to share some of the Christian doctrine and scriptures, and we got a special guest Skyped in from Israel, Michael Ganon, a gentleman I met not too long ago. In fact, let's bring him in. Let's say hello.
Let's not bring him in.
We just need him to hit the video. Come on. We just need him to turn his video feed on, and we should be able to bring him in.
We don't want to bring Michael in now. We'll bring him in a little later.
We want to save it. It's kind of like a Christmas present. You don't want to bring it on right now.
Speaking of Christmas, everybody thinks 2,000 years ago, on the evening of December 25th, Mary was riding on a donkey with Joseph holding. They came to the town of Bethlehem, and she was like, the baby was coming out, and they tried to go into the Ritz Hotel, and that didn't work. They tried the Marriott, that didn't work. They wound up in the stable, in the manger. Jesus was born, and then the angels were singing, and then the kings came, the three kings, and everybody lived happily ever after. I mean, that's right?
Yeah, that's how it happened. What? What do you mean?
Most of what I just said
I
was wrong.
heard that Jews wouldn't give them a place to stay. That's why they were born when they're gone.
Who is that guy? He thinks he's the Messiah. He ain't staying here. Now, that story is not exactly historically accurate. And what we're going to do today, we're going to identify some of the misconceptions of the Christmas story. And we're going to talk to a Christian in Israel to get a view of his work for the nation of Israel, for the Jewish people in particular, for the fighting men and women of the Israeli Defense Force. That's Michael Ganon. He heads up an organization called Hershey's for Heroes.
Yeah.
You know what that's all about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you told us about it earlier, Tom.
Yeah. Well, it's a rhetorical question because we're on the air. It's to make believe you don't know anything.
Yeah, I guess
about
everyone listening knows about it. I think he meant, tell us a little bit
About the Hershey for Heroes.
I don't feel like telling you now. We'll tell you later. We'll let Michael Ganon tell you.
Not
Michael
quite yet.
needs to hit his video feed. Hit your video feed, Michael.
Why don't we do this? When the elusive Michael
Michael
Ganon
hits his video feed on the other end of the line.
should I hold something up that says
Like,
video
hit
feed?
your video feed.
Okay, watch
know.
this. Live
Michael-
television, ladies and gentlemen.
Michael, hit your video feed.
The video.
Video.
Mary, come and see what Tom Trento's doing. Come, hurry up. He's going to show a thing on television. Michael, put on
Hold
your
on, let me zoom
video
it in.
feed.
Here you go.
Michael, put on your video.
This
Jesus,
makes great radio.
put on your video feed. Is he?
No, he must.
Well, we got a picture. We could show everyone what a picture of Michael
what
looks
he
like.
Yeah, here
We got a picture?
Well, you can't even hear him.
Michael, are you there?
We,
I don't know. Michael's there. I don't know.
For
I got
our
his
driving
audio.
audience on this Christmas
I don't
day,
hear him.
I don't hear him.
2014, for the people in the
Let's
automobiles,
try it again.
or people in their homes with their AM radios on, WSBR radio, WSBR, 7:40 a.m. on the dial on this 4 o'clock, 12 minutes exactly on the head, 12 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast, late at night in Israel. We're trying to get Michael Ganon, our good friend, to come on, but I'm going to move ahead with the show.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, we'll catch him on the back.
What I'd like to do today is share a little bit about Christmas for all you listeners, Christians, Jews, whomever. It's always good to hear about this stuff. I'm going to read the Christmas story. How about that? 'Twas the night before Christmas. Oh no, wrong story. I'm going to read the one out of.
Oh, I like that story.
I'm going to read the Bible one. Out of
That
the
was
Bible.
the
the
New
fake one?
Testament.
The
Bible
fake one? Yeah, the fake story that nobody knows.
Out of the New Testament, as opposed to the Old Testament. But you know the distinction? No, you guys are busy working.
What?
Well, from the Jewish point of view, there is no New Testament. There's only our Bible, the Hebrew
That's
Bible.
right.
That's right, the Hebrew Bible. And what Christians maintain is that that the Messiah long hoped for and long desired for by the Jewish nation, we believe Jesus was the fulfillment of the prophecies for that Messiah.
Right.
And when he came, he had a new covenant. God had a covenant. God has always had a covenant with the people of Israel. And the covenant is the law. And when Christ came, the covenant, the new covenant, was the covenant of grace. That the Christian view says no one is perfect enough to follow the law, every single jot and tittle, every single little dot and every cross T, jots and tittles, everything. No one can do it.
I thought it was dot and tittle.
No, jot and tittle. Cross the dot and dot the I's and cross the T's, but the old English is jot and tittle.
Oh, okay.
Like Wayne, like
Hey, Michael, are you
YA,
with us?
Like YA tittle.
No. Is he?
So as the Christian theology goes, it says that no one's capable of keeping all the law all the time, all the place. So God, in his love for mankind, said, look, you tried, you can't do it. I'm going to do it for you. He did it in the person of Jesus Christ. And to believe in Christ, the forgiveness of sins and eternal paradise with him. That's Christian theology. You can go look that up anywhere. I happen to be persuaded that that makes the most sense out of all the various theologies of the world. As long as you don't cut my head off or make me be your slave, you can believe whatever the hell you want to believe, okay?
Right.
And I promise you that if you ask me about my faith as a Christian, I'll tell you, and if you go, I don't want to hear it anymore, then no big deal. I don't try to convert people or do any of that sort of stuff.
That is an obligatory part of our religion.
Imam Abdullah, you guys got to go push your stuff, don't you?
Yes, we peddle very hard. It is called dawah.
That's because you have a political agenda in Islam.
Of course.
Well, Christians ought not. Christians have made the mistake. When Jesus came, there was no political agenda. There was a interpersonal, spiritual agenda, and it basically said, align your life with God, and the politics become irrelevant in many respects because you will do the right thing.
But that does not mean you're not supposed to vote.
Of course not. Now, personally, align yourself with God, you will do the right thing, and you don't need laws, you don't need locks, you don't need anything. There's no locks in heaven, okay? There are no laws in heaven because people are perfected. But Islam, because it's a political agenda, says everybody's got to follow the Sharia. And that's why it's got to push its political agenda. Historically, when Christian doctrine gave way to local or global politics, like in the case of the Roman Empire, then the church got mixed with the state and you got chaos. That's what Islam is. Church and state ought to be separated. But our Jewish brothers and sisters see this differently. They see the fact that they are a theocracy. They were a theocracy. Now they have a secular state. And many dear friends of mine who are wonderful Orthodox rabbis believe that a theocracy has to be reestablished on earth, a benevolent theocracy, not like Islam, obviously. And we disagree on those issues. But today is Christmas. I'm going to read the story for everybody. Then we'll get into some of the geography. Then we're going to go to Israel, talk to Michael Ganon, the elusive Michael Ganon.
Maybe.
The birth of Jesus. I'm reading out of the chapter called Luke. I can go on all day long about this stuff. Luke chapter 2.
Because you were trained as a
The way the
theologian.
Bible works is...
This is coming straight from Moody Bible Institute.
and you know what? The Muslims ripped this stuff off. Jesus had 12 men around him called apostles, which means sent ones. He was training them and then he was sending them out. He had 4 biographers follow him around. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Right.
They were his biographers. They weren't officially, he didn't say, you're my biographers. Just so happened, they spent the 3 years of his ministry. Each was from a different place, and each wrote down what took place. So the Gospels, gospel means good news.
Good speak?
Good
I thought it
news-
was good speak.
Good news, basically, but good speak. I mean, words have various things. We have Michael with us.
Yeah, I think we do, man.
Let's-
This is crazy.
This is crazy.
What's going on? Introduce him so
Yeah,
the
we
folks
had-
can see him at 18
okay.
minutes after 4.
Right.
Michael.
Michael.
You there, bud?
Yes, how are you, Tom?
All right.
Yeah, can you hear me?
No, we don't.
That's Israeli internet for you.
The much touted Israeli
Oh, wait, hold on.
we're
He's still
back.
there.
Are you still
3G
there?
internet. Not 1G, not 2G.
Not 2G, but 3 mice.
3Gs.
3 mice network.
3 blind mice.
See, that's what you get for ditching my Apple products. There you go.
Look, we like the Israelis. Okay,
There he is.
Their internet bites the big one.
It does.
It's really
It's-
bad.
it is.
They invent everything and can't have internet service. I don't get it.
I don't know. Are you really there, Michael?
I am here. I'm here, Tom.
All right.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you, Michael Ganon in Israel. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It's another beautiful day in the Jewish state.
All right. I'm gonna go through a couple of items and throw some questions at you, and then we'll segue to your story, why you're in Israel, a Christian from the United States, from down south in the United States, good old boy. He's out there, and he is doing a job for the Israeli Defense Forces like I have not seen. So let me read the story.
Okay.
Why do I say let me read the story? I don't
Just
need
read
you
the
to let
story.
me
You don't need
You-
permission
you-
from
you-
us. You're the boss.
Go ahead,
I
Tom.
hate
Hey,
when
you know
people
what?
say
When
that.
you were saying that Jesus walked around with 4 biographers, you walk around with 2 biographers.
2 biographers.
That's right. There you go.
So, when do we walk on water? That's what I want to know. All right, let's see. Can I do this? I can do this. I can actually make on my new iPad the words big enough so I don't need glasses. To read.
Really?
Yeah, but I can only read one word at a time. In our town. You think that'll be interesting to the
Yeah. Oh,
listeners?
yeah.
Okay.
Why didn't you just give it out to put it on a teleprompter for you, Tom?
No, I'll read it like this. Are you ready? 'Cause-
Are you gonna-
'cause
is it scholarly?
We want to
Are
create
you going
a
to
mood.
do a scholarly atmosphere?
We want to
here?
create a mood. Let Michael know he's on camera, so don't pick your nose.
Yeah, don't pick
or
your nose.
anything.
You are on camera right now. If you can, yeah, he can see our feed. He knows he's
Okay,
on camera.
good.
He's in a little bitty box, though.
All right, Luke was a fisherman, regular guy. Jesus had just regular people, no, academics or anything, regular people. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken from the entire Roman world. Whoa. One of the beauties of the Bible is it's very historical. In those days, we can go to Caesar Augustus, we can find out when he lived. And he lived from 30 BC, 30, 40 BC before Christ or before the Common Era.
So did they have how many Mexicans live in your household back then? Or how,
They had a bunch. That's what they wanted to know. Well, the Romans were a very sophisticated government. They wanted to know how many people under their kingdom for taxing, for military purposes, for management purposes. They had to provide food. They had to provide water to some of these places. When they conquered peoples, they didn't just abuse peoples. It was a very benevolent empire in many respects, and then they provided services for their people.
Well, actually, one of the interesting things about the Roman Empire, what they did is that when they came into different areas, because they had the whole Pax Romanus, the wonderful
world, yeah.
And what they did when they conquered areas, they didn't conquer and say, you must follow this religion. They said, you must follow, you can follow your own religion all you want to all day long, but you just have to put our religion, Julius Caesar, first, and you really don't have to, really abide by it. Just make believe you do it, and da-da-da-da-da.
That does not fly with us.
Well, actually,
Didn't fly with the Christians either.
and actually, it really didn't fly with the Jews.
Doesn't fly with the
Jews
Jews
at all, and
so.
well, that's a whole revolt and.
Well, see, these are Italians, okay? I'm from.
Yeah, so you're kind of like laid back,
It's
Christians,
like,
yeah.
we
all
conquer
right.
the people, let them believe whatever they want, but they gotta believe this stuff, even if
Hey,
they
it's
don't.
the red wine. Who wants to fight?
Yeah,
Drink some freaking wine, eh?
Yeah. So that's what was going on in the first century.
Yeah.
In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree.
And they're actually pretty good treating their people. Good.
Now watch this. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria. So you can go back in
Right
history
there.
books. You can look at Quirinius when he was governor of Syria, and and now when we go to the Middle East, and Michael and I were in the West Bank in Samaria not too
Right.
long ago, not too far from Syria. You see that Syria is like on the border of Israel.
No, it really is.
So Rome, when they had conquered Syria, they had conquered the northern part going down Samaria and Judea going down at the southern part of Israel. And they simply said, we got to have a census. So Joseph went up. Joseph is the father of Jesus, married to Mary. So Joseph went up from the town of Nazareth.
Well, hold on.
in
I
Galilee.
thought God was the father of Jesus, not
We're
Joseph.
not going to do theology. We're doing history.
Well, no, hold on. No. Let's don't get technical here because
unicorn wants to get
no,
into the
come on.
He wants a
No.
theological-
God
Michael,
is
by
the
the way,
father of
Mark
Jesus.
is a unicorn.
Was that there's not a virgin birth? Was it not a immaculate birth? Then Joseph couldn't have done it.
He was the stepfather.
Okay, all right. I'll go with you there. All right. Okay, just
He was the. You're going to be the father, Joseph.
all right.
And
Yeah, he's kind of like the adopted father.
Was visited by some tough guys that said, no, she didn't have any relations with anybody, and you are the father. Don't mess with us because we're angels.
Okay. Now, if I got angels
exactly
told me
how-
that, then
Yeah,
I
you
believe.
gotta
Then I
get
believe my
stuff.
wife.
Yeah, well.
If my wife telling him to, is immaculate, but angels, that's another story. Okay.
So Joseph went up. I want to note the geographical issue here. Joseph went up
North.
from the town of Nazareth, in Galilee to Judea. If you look on a map, if you look on a map, if you look on
a map,
if you look on a
if we
map,
had a map to look, oh, we do have a map.
there's
To look.
a map.
Oh, nope. There it is.
all right. If you look up north on this map in particular is Nazareth,
Yes.
and down south is Bethlehem, right in Judea. And one way of understanding Judea is Samaria. Jerusalem is in Judea, the southern part of Israel. Samaria is above Jerusalem, right about Jerusalem's right about the dividing line geographically.
Okay.
Samaria is the north part. Look, he's going down to Bethlehem on our map, the whole family, because
Okay.
they had to go to the city of their family. Their family was from Bethlehem. But it says in the Bible they went up from the town of Nazareth in the region of Galilee to Judea. What does that mean?
That means it had to be, then the land goes further than just where it's at.
Or was that talking about mountains in
Mountains.
the up?
That's
Oh,
all.
mountains?
They're going up in a mountain. Yeah, Jerusalem.
Ah.
People don't
Ah,
know
not
this.
Hey, trick
bad
question.
for a Jew.
Not
Trick question.
You should know
tricked
this,
me,
Mr.
tricked me,
Jew.
tricked me.
The Jerusalem is up about almost 4,000 feet.
Yeah.
And Nazareth is down almost to sea level.
Okay.
So when you hear Jesus went up to Jerusalem, but he's in the Galilee region up north where we've been on the Sea of Tiberias,
Yeah, you tricked me.
he goes south, but he's going up. It's only because they're talking about
Elevation,
the
not
elevation.
direction.
To Bethlehem, the town of David, because Joseph belonged to the house of David, the line of David. The Romans said, everybody go back to where you came from, and this way we want all the family in one place. We want to
Okay.
count you, and we want to see who you are. We want to get a good census so we know who the heck you people are.
Okay.
He went there to Bethlehem to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child.
Right.
While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born. While they were there, was the baby born as they were riding into the stable?
No.
Not necessarily. They were there for a while. They could have been
Right.
there, waiting for 2 weeks. What happened when they went back to these towns during the census, there was, picture, Mardi Gras in New Orleans or the Indianapolis 500 in Indianapolis. Everybody pours into the major towns where they're
So
from.
all the hotels were booked, you're saying?
And the computer system sucked back then. So they had
It's
to
still
get-
Israel. It
it's
still does.
Their internet is still bad.
Their internet was terrible back
It was
then,
G1 back then.
and they had to line up and talk.
That was
to
really
people
BC
and wish
before
your
computers,
kids and
right?
shut that stupid kid up! He's crying. And you could just imagine the chaos, the donkeys, the poop on the ground, the noise, the food vendors, the singers, the dancers. Right, Michael? You're in Israel, isn't it like that every Shabbat in Israel?
What, the poop and donkeys and everything, or what?
I think a little more
Right before
sophisticated.
Shabbat, everybody is running around getting ready. If you go to the Shuk, what they call the Shuk, the open air market, it's crazy. But there's a lot of energy. It's very positive. It's amazing.
All right, Michael. You're Italian, aren't you?
Yes.
No, you're French, right? You're French.
Good French,
Your
correct.
nationality. What's your nationality?
My father's father was right from France. His mother was American Indian, and my mother's side is Swiss.
All right, you got everything. Well, you got Italian blood in you somewhere because your hands are doing this
All over the screen.
and they're freezing up our Skype. So take your hands
Sit on them.
and sit on them like this.
I
Okay?
didn't have to talk.
Okay, you can't talk. What is it like on feasts like Sukkot or any of the feasts in Israel? What is life like in the street in Jerusalem?
I will tell you that, again, it's like Shabbat. It's very electric. And, it's amazing because, you have people here that are secular, that may not, and they're Jewish. They may not believe in God for whatever reason, but there's still that reverence for the feast days. There's still that reverence and respect for those that are religious. It's amazing. I will tell you, for example, on Yom Kippur, it is amazing to see this entire country shut down.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm telling you, and I live in the Tel Aviv area, to see on the highway, the major highway that goes, and the highway system here is amazing. There are no cars, nobody drives. And that respect and honor for Jewish history and for God, even if you aren't so religious, is amazing. It's something that I've never seen, not even in the United States.
Right.
And this
Certainly
is,
not
this,
in the United States
No, this
anymore.
is really amazing because, again, when I was there a couple of weeks ago with Michael, We drove around for a day. We went into the West Bank, into Samaria,
Right.
and into Tel Aviv. And to say there's no cars driving into, it's like no cars in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very much what it's like. Unbelievable for everybody to
Well,
just stop. But what a great time to attack your fellow Abrahamic religion people of the book. Attack them on Yom Kippur
Yeah.
when everybody's worshiping on the Day of Atonement.
And
Oh,
also,
didn't
just
they
on-
do that?
I think they did do
Oh,
that.
wasn't that about 41 years ago?
And I think they got their asses kicked, I think.
Yes, I think
back
they
then.
did.
Yeah, and they may need another one. All right, so let's go on with the story. Let's continue
You
with
don't
the
mind
story.
if I add?
Go ahead.
He
go
wants to
ahead,
add something.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I have seen, and especially in this area, because obviously I'm not able to be everywhere at once, but in the over 2 years that I've been here, even on Yom Kippur, again, I know people that are secular, but there is a respect and honor that they stand outside the synagogues and listen to the prayers that are being prayed for the country. It's
Right.
amazing.
Hey, what about, Michael, what about right now, Christmas Day, Christmas season? Historically, a lot of pilgrims, Christians from all over the world. We've been there several times, and, you just see buses of Chinese Christians coming in, African Christians, Indian Christians, American Christians. What's it like now in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem with the Christmas season upon us?
It's funny because you would think, and this is how open the Jewish people are and the government. There are Arabs that are Christians, and they have Christmas lights everywhere, and they're selling. I have a miniature Christmas tree that was bought for me by some Jewish friends
Really?
to put in the house, a little Christmas tree.
It was a Hanukkah bush.
And you even see Santa Clauses, which we all know that's pagan. But there's an openness here, and there are Christians that travel from all over the world. Now, my first Christmas year, I was in Bethlehem, and I love the history here. But for me as a Christian, I don't need to necessarily go to the sites of history to understand what the meaning is, even though for one time at least, it was an amazing experience. Unfortunately, right now in Bethlehem, the Arab Christians have a big tree up in Bethlehem decorated with ornaments for the Palestinian state, green, black, and red.
Jeez. Oh, man.
Unbelievable.
And I'll tell you, if you mind me adding to that, Tom, I'm sorry I don't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
But understand the culture here, because the culture is if you're born to an Arab Christian, there's no conversion experience needed.
You're breaking up.
breaking up too much.
You're automatically a Christian.
If you're
If you're
born to an
an
Arab,
Arab father that's Muslim, you don't need to convert or anything. Yeah, you're automatically. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, say that again, because the internet connection.
It's that hand thing you're talking with.
Yeah, don't move around too much. 34 minutes after 4 o'clock on Christmas Day, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Trento, your host, Enemies of the State. Today, we have a Christmas celebration show. We're talking a little bit about the Christian story of Christmas out of the second chapter of Luke. We have a special guest Skyped in on Israel's
Hey.
rock-solid
Oh,
internet system.
we're going to turn our video feed off to you. It might clear up ours on our end, okay?
So you won't see us.
You won't see us.
We
so don't,
see
don't-
you. You don't see us.
All right. And so what we're doing today, we have Michael Ganon from Israel. He heads up an organization called Hershey's for Heroes. We'll talk about that in a moment. Michael is an American Christian from the South,
Right.
relocated to Israel, and has a ministry to the nation of Israel, just like Jerusalem Jane yesterday.
Yes.
But Michael has a very specific ministry to the IDF, and we'll tell you about that in a moment. But let me go through
Okay.
the story. And Michael was just telling us that in Bethlehem, which is a Palestinian or a Arab city now,
Yes.
There's been an unbroken chain of Jewish people, obviously, and Christians there since the first century. You know how far it is? If you can put that map back up. Mary and Joseph had to travel from Nazareth, and Mark, we were at Nazareth. I think we're going in March. I think we're going into Nazareth. From Nazareth to Bethlehem. You know how many miles it is?
70.
You cheated. You looked. It's 70
I just
miles.
read the script earlier.
It's 70 miles. That's a long way.
That's a long way.
By donkey back, click, 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 click.
Yeah, that's not an hour drive. That's like
That's a couple of days.
That's a
on the
couple
road.
days. No, it's
Like
more than a
10
couple
miles.
days.
Yeah, I bet you it's a week of travel.
It's a week
No.
travel. Yeah.
10 miles
Well,
a
hold
day.
on. Did they take any water or strictly a land route?
No, it was that, I don't know what that water thing is. They didn't go in the water. They went on a land route. That map is a little non-historical, but it's just showing you one way to get there. But in any event, here's what happened. Now, they're coming down to register because Rome said, we got to count everybody. Joseph is going to his father's house, King David's. He's from the line of King David, going to Bethlehem. While she is there waiting to be censized, waiting to be counted,
Censured, right.
she has a baby in Bethlehem. Jesus, his family was from Nazareth. Jesus from Nazareth. You hear that a lot?
Yeah.
But he was born in Bethlehem. How come?
Because the Jews wouldn't rent him a room.
They wouldn't rent him a room, so he's in Bethlehem in a stable. And the shepherds were living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks.
Now, was it also? I want to ask you a question about that. Was he in hiding, or were they actually hiding from because the people were looking for the Messiah, wanting to kill him, or anything like that?
No, nothing at anything at this point.
No, he's just saying that they were going down to get counted for the census.
Nobody knew anything except Mary knew. I didn't touch anybody, and I got a baby, and I don't know how that works.
Well,
And Joseph goes.
I'm getting angels visited
Yeah,
here.
Joseph
you know,
goes. Somebody came to me. I don't know what's going on.
so they
We
don't
bet-
think it's the Son of God at this time.
We better. Well, they were told, but again, they're regular people, and it's like we don't quite get this, but we've seen too much not to obey. We better go to Bethlehem. Let's go.
Okay.
So they get down there, and the shepherds were looking over the flocks at night, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But an angel came to them and said, "Don't be afraid. I bring you good news." Gospel means good news.
Good news.
That's
Good
where it comes
speech.
from.
Okay.
I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David, Bethlehem, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the anointed one. Messiah means the anointed one. The one anointed by God to be the Savior to his people. This will be a sign to you. You'll find a baby wrapped in clothes lying in a manger. That was said to the shepherds. Suddenly a great company of heavenly hosts appeared, praising God, singing glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace to whom his favor rests. Now, watch this. The angels come. They go to Bethlehem trying to find out what's going on. They know something's happening. The shepherds go. So they hurried off, found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in the manger. When they see him, they start spreading the word. Oh, my word. We saw all this stuff happening. An angel spoke to us. We'll get into the theology of that some other time. Angel spoke to us. We went in the manger. We found this little baby. Something's going on with this little baby. So so that's basically the story. But I want to bring you to one other chapter. Go to the Old Testament, or actually the Hebrew Bible, to Micah, Micah 5. Micah was a Jewish prophet, and the prophets were the difference between a priest and a prophet in Israel in Jewish times. The prophet God would speak to the prophet, and the prophet would speak to man. The role of the priest in the Jewish economy was the people would speak to the priest, and the priest would speak to God. So the prophet is from God down. The priest in the Jewish world is from the people up to God.
I'll bet that pays good.
If you were the top priest, yeah,
What do you want me to tell the big guy for you?
at the Holy of Holies, which is that Temple Mount. We're back to that whole thing again, even yesterday's story. Now listen to this prophecy written 700 years. There is no question about the historicity of the date of Micah. Atheistic historical researchers will say, yes, we have documents. Yes, they've been dated. Yes, they're 700 years before the time of Christ. Yes, this is what it says. There is a disagreement as to the meaning of what it says. But Christians look at this and say, this is a prophecy about Jesus coming. And I'll read just Micah chapter 5, verse 2. But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, that was the area of Bethlehem. But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah. Judah had the tribes of Judah. Out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from old, from ancient times. And even Jewish rabbis say, yes, that's talking about the Messiah, could be talking about the Messiah, but it doesn't apply to Jesus. Christians say, yes, it applies to Jesus. That's the debate, the argument between Jews and Christians, and that's a legitimate debate to have. But on this day, we point back to that, and we say that that is one of the prophecies that predicted the coming of Christ. So, let me stop there for a moment and ask you, when was the last time, Michael, you were in Bethlehem? We have not been there. What is Bethlehem like? I have not been there yet.
Bethlehem right now is Muslim occupied.
It's Muslim occupied. Huh?
There were a lot of Christians that were living there, but over the years they pushed the Christians out, and now there are no longer Christians or Jews that are living there. As a matter of fact, there is a warning by the Israeli government that Jews dare not go there because they take their life in their own hands. So there's a lot of Arabs there. They're making a lot of money off of the backs of the people that come as pilgrims on Christmas Day. Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
And they celebrate Christmas. It's a very destitute town, I will tell you. It's run down. It's because the people don't take care of it. Right now, there is a Christmas tree that is in Bethlehem Square that actually has, now these are Christians, quote unquote, the real Christians have been driven out, the Jews have been driven out, so the quote unquote Christians that are there are now have placed on a huge, like 30-foot Christmas tree, ornaments of the color of the Palestinian flag, red, black, and green. So it's a
slap in the face.
I didn't feel very secure there the first Christmas that I was here and went, and it's a tough place.
A tough place, says Michael Ganon, the founder of Hershey's for Heroes, an American Christian. Where are you from in the United States, Michael? Michael.
Yeah, Michael. Where
I'm
are you from?
actually originally from West Virginia.
You're from West Virginia, and now
I'm from West Virginia.
Now you're staying in Israel, and you go back and forth, and operate within the visa structure. Why? How long? What's that?
Been here. I'm sorry. I've been here consecutively for over 2 years.
For 2 years, and why did you decide to leave the wonderful state of West Virginia? Are they they're not the Huskies? Are they West Virginia?
No. Well, Mountaineers.
Mountaineers. There you go.
Is that a state? Is West Virginia a state?
Yes, West Virginia is a state.
It is? Oh, okay.
It is a state.
Good God.
Why did you decide?
I just thought it was like East Virginia.
Why'd you decide
I'm
to
messing
leave
with you, Michael.
Why'd you decide to leave West Virginia and go to Israel? What's that all about, Michael Ganon?
Well, actually, I worked in politics for 12 years, and I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time. And, I was raised, my mother used to read Torah or the Pentateuch or the first parts of the Bible and the prophets to us for an hour every night when we were children. So as I saw what was taking place politically, I became very dissatisfied with my efforts to stand as a Christian, as someone who's conservative and right-wing. I saw what was happening in politics, and I was like, you know what? I think my efforts would be better served elsewhere. If it had not been for the Jewish people receiving Torah from Hashem or God on Mount Sinai, I would not have a constitutional Bill of Rights. So,
Wow, good point.
Good point.
and so the funny thing is, I had an Israeli flag hanging in my office that a woman made in my mother's church in West Virginia, and she gives them away. And people would literally come by my office and say, why do you have the Israeli flag hanging up? Are you Jewish? And I'm like, no. Have you been to Israel? No.
Yeah.
Well, why do you have the flag? And it's like, you people don't get it. So I just decided that my efforts would be better served. And I came to Israel, and there's a whole story behind it that is actually a miracle in itself. But I will tell you, I came here knowing no one, $600 in my pocket. I used the social media and showed the greatness of this country and the people. And 6 months later, if you don't mind me saying, not to detract from the greatness of what you guys do, and I love it, I was given the opportunity for a radio show called Insight to Israel. And with that was born, I came up with the name, and with that was born Hershey's for Heroes, because I wanted to tell the truth about the greatness of this country, and in return, when people hear that truth, send a message of love to the soldiers through Hershey's for
That's good.
Heroes.
All right, we're going to
We
play
have
that
the
video.
video, yeah.
We're gonna show the video at 46 minutes on this Christmas Day, Christmas celebration. Merry Christmas to everyone out there from the United West team. Our special guest Skyped in from Israel, Michael Ganon, heads up Hershey's for Heroes, worked in D.C. That's why he left the United States of America. After 12 years in D.C., you got to go to a place.
I
to
hope
get
he
your
took
head
a good
straightened
bath
out.
on his way out.
And he got over there with $600 in his pocket and a little bit of social media, and then here the rest is history. Take a look at this.
You know, are you Jewish? No. Well, why do you have the Israeli flag? Have you been to Israel? No.
As a young child, Michael's mother stressed the importance of supporting the Jewish nation as a Christian. Going to Israel was a dream unfulfilled until the perfect opportunity arose.
And she looked at me and she said, Michael Gano, you're going to Israel. It's your time.
One man leaves his home and life in America and sacrifices everything to support the Jewish people.
When I came here, I didn't know anyone. Gave away everything in the States, bought a one-way ticket, sold my car. I said, this is live, die, sink, or swim for me. When I go, I'm going to go and fight.
And fight, he did, but in an unconventional way. He developed an organization called Hershey's for Heroes.
I wanted to come up with a way for Americans to send a message to the soldiers that they stand with them that's cost effective and time efficient. They're sending Hershey's chocolate bars with a note on them telling the soldiers, we love you, we pray for you, we stand with you, and thank you for defending the Jewish state. My goal is 1,000 chocolate bars a month.
After witnessing the impact a simple chocolate bar and message can have on a soldier, Michael understood the importance of his vision.
But until I have a chocolate bar in the hand of every soldier that gets to see that message, then there's no other reason to do anything else.
For Michael Gano, Hershey's for Heroes is about more than just chocolate. It's about building relationships that will last a lifetime.
But I have developed such a bond with these soldiers that call me their brother. And when I'm on a base and I go to visit, I'm so welcome that I can't describe it in words. I fall short in English vernacular, but it means a lot to me to have that bonding with these soldiers.
Hello, my name is Tamir. I'm 20 years old. I serve in the Navy, and I want to say thank you for Hershey's for Heroes.
Hershey's for Heroes leaves a special impact on Israeli soldiers and provides Americans with a unique way to support the Israeli Defense Forces.
Yeah, Michael Gano,
Michael Ganon, good job.
our hero. Excellent, man. Michael, that's a great little piece. We are so glad on this Christmas Day to be speaking with our Christian brother Michael Gano in Israel. the Tel Aviv area right now at 50 minutes. 50 minutes. Just a few minutes left in the show, folks, on this wonderful Christmas. We hope you're enjoying it with your families. Don't eat too much. But, Michael, that was really admirable to make that sort of commitment, to dive in. Guys, what are your thoughts when you see the quick story like that?
Well, I love it. My couple questions. Did you get Hershey to donate the chocolate bars, or do you have to buy them, or what?
No, Americans are actually taking the time to buy the chocolate bars. Churches have donated literally thousands of chocolate bars. They put the notes on them themselves and ship them to me. And when the soldiers see that note, I'm telling you, you can't even understand, as someone who's not Jewish, wrapping your mind around an 18-year-old that tells you, Michael, thank you for this message. The world hates us. I can't even describe how it like hits you in the face. But Americans love this country at the grassroots level. And I am so thankful that there are participators, not spectators, in showing their love for the Jewish state.
So this is not an advertising stunt by Hershey Chocolate or anything like
Now,
that?
actually, let me say,
I'm sorry you broke up, Michael.
Well,
Yeah, he's frozen. right now.
Until we get him back. The Christmas internet in Israel is busy.
Christmas boycott.
Until we get him back,
Yeah, we lost
we as I mentioned a few weeks ago when I was there, Michael, myself, and Jerusalem Jane, she was with us. We went we went up to the I'm calling it the West Bank just for expedience sake, but it was Samaria. We were in the Samarian region, went to Nablus, and there's an overlook of Joseph's tomb up in Nablus. And the folks we were with took us there. Beautiful panorama, beautiful view. And while we're up there, looking out over Nablus, we see a little like a bunch of noise, and we look to our left, and there were 40 or 50 IDF soldiers.
Right.
I think you're back with us, Michael. You there?
yeah, all right.
I'm relating the story when we were up at Nablus and we saw all the IDF people. Mark had asked you if Hershey's involved in some marketing or advertisement. Why don't you answer that, then I'll finish my
I
Nablus
lost
story.
him again.
Oh.
The Israeli internet got us again.
Wow. Well, in any event,
there he is.
There he is again. Okay.
Michael, answer the question, is Hershey involved in all of this? And tell us how people can contribute to you, contact you. We only got a couple of minutes left in the show. We want folks to get behind this program.
Okay. No, Hershey's is not involved. Israel's too controversial for them, even though Milton Hershey was a Jew. So you can go to Hershey's for Hero on Facebook or Google it in,
Okay.
or send me an email at mganoe, Ganoe, at Insight to Israel. That's 2 zeros. Mganoe, yeah, right there. That's great. You can go there and send me an email and look at this. This is great. When soldiers see this note on the
let's see
chocolate
it.
bar,
Hold it up. Hold it steady. Hold it closer to the camera.
He's speaking Italian with his Hershey's there. Keep it still.
There you go. Got a good shot of it now. Go
What's
ahead.
it say?
It says, what's it say?
and please send me Hershey's for Heroes and take pictures of your family, of your friends, putting notes on the chocolate bar. It means a lot because I post them on the Facebook page, and you can. I'll email you and send the information of how you can send them.
All right, Michael, let me ask you this, because I've heard some folks be very concerned that this is really a stealth proselytizing campaign that you're running there.
No, not at all.
No, huh?
What is your primary? Well, I was there. I mean, I was starting to tell you the story when he saw the IDF soldiers. He immediately runs to the car, carries chocolate bars in his backpack, right? Pulls out all these chocolate bars, runs down to him, and he's kind of well known in the IDF now.
Right.
And he's handing them out, talking to them, and they're cheering and laughing. We're setting them up for pictures. We're taking their pictures. He's got arm in arm. And it was the highlight of their day.
Oh, really?
50 IDF soldiers. It was, and he's got them singing and doing this, and he's perfect for the job, you know. And it's not, for those of you who you know are always concerned about these things, not a proselytizing program. It's an encouragement program to, as on yesterday's show, we had Ken Abramowitz. Remember, he said Israel is the eastern border of Western civilization.
That's exactly right.
Those candy bars are feeding those on the front lines of Western civilization.
You know who he could get
Spiritually, too.
He could probably get some Israeli dentists to sponsor him.
Now, we have a Jewish guy here who has a business mind, Michael.
Yeah.
You two get together, you maybe make some money out of this thing.
No,
you know?
no.
So that's not a bad
If
idea.
you don't mind me adding,
Yeah.
look, there's another war coming. And with what the media says, we are going, whether we like it or not, accept or deny, we are going to end up fighting Islam. And these soldiers need to hear from Americans at the grassroots level that we will stand and fight with you in defense of your country.
Yep.
And I've been accused of proselytizing, whatever. You know, I don't have the time, and I've got enough legitimacy of my sacrifice, and it's not a sacrifice willingly. I owe the Jewish people for my freedom as an American. And we have an obligation, even if it's just a note on a chocolate bar. I'm telling you, go to the page and you'll see it yourself. It changes the whole entire morale of these soldiers.
Yeah, and I experienced it firsthand. All right, Michael Gano, your thought. We'll give you a minute to kind of close things up from your perspective. Your thought about Israel, the United States, Christmas. Just take a minute and share your thoughts.
Let me say Merry Christmas to all of the Americans that stand for truth, number one. Number two, we have a new Republican House, Senate coming in that are in charge. Right now, we fund hundreds of billions of dollars to Islamic countries. If we say we stand behind Israel, we need to hold them accountable. Because that training from the CIA, I know it's a whole different show, CIA and our military and our funding and the arms, those are used against the Jewish state. If we say we love Israel, let's stand behind them as Americans and be willing to sacrifice everything to help them defend their country.
Can't add to that.
said.
Well
Yeah,
said,
well
Michael
said.
Gano. God bless you, and stay safe in Israel. And we will check in with you once a week. We'll have our own little Hershey segment.
Okay.
Once a week, get an update, and maybe you can tape a couple of testimonials from some IDF, the pretty chicks. Leave the guys out.
Yeah.
The Israeli IDF women. Michael, are those Israeli IDF women something or what?
Yeah. Israeli women are hot.
Let me say this. They are, but I had a soldier ask me in the Golan Heights on a base. He said, Michael, are you married? I said, no, I'm divorced. He said, do you have children? I said, no. And this young soldier looked at me and he said, Michael, we are your children.
Oh, that's pretty
When
cool.
you hear that from a soldier, you love these kids. I love them.
And these are 18, 20-year-old kids, you know. All right, man, you take care. Have a wonderful Christmas. And
Merry Christmas.
We will see you in March. We'll see you in March, okay?
All right.
God bless you guys. Merry Christmas.
All right, take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Michael Gano, ladies and gentlemen. Hershey's
That's a
for
good guy.
Good guy. Hershey's for Heroes. Go to his Facebook page. You know what? I think on there's a place to donate. He's hooked up with a church in America that helps support him. He lives on pennies. I was there. He lives on pennies.
Like all of us.
And he does menial labor to survive, so he can go out and do this. I know what he does.
Right.
And he is really dedicated, and he's a highly educated former working as aides to some congressmen and everything. He's a very highly educated,
Sheldon
articulate.
Adelson should throw him a bone, no?
But he is from West Virginia, Tom.
Yeah,
But,
that kills
he
everything
kind of
right
kills
there,
everything.
you know?
It really does.
So, all right, we will meet him in March. Don't forget, please, we need you to sign up quickly, at least get the information for our trip to Israel. We're leaving on March 21st. You saw yesterday Jerusalem Jane. You saw today
Right.
Michael Gano. Wonderful people standing for Israel. You need to be standing for Israel too. on this Christmas day to our Christian friends. Figure out how to come up with $3,000 worth of shekels. Come with us to Israel. Till tomorrow.
You get the free candy bar if you come on the trip.
I don't wanna fight tonight.